Welcome to the Only in Movies podcast. I'm your host, Anari, coming to you from Austin, Texas.
I'm your host, Amato, coming to you from Buffalo, New York. And in this podcast, we break down scenes and discuss things that happen only in movies. Welcome back, everybody. We've been doing this for a while now. We like
Listeners.
triple OGs of the podcast game. Maybe not triple.
Whoop, whoop.
We're probably just regular OGs.
Double or just a single? Okay.
No, once we hit 20, that put us into like OG status. You know, we're getting there. And they don't even know how many we have in the tuck, so.
Just wait for it.
Yeah. Don't believe me, just watch.
All right, Bruno. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Only in Movies Pod to find out what movie we'll be covering on our upcoming episodes. Also, make sure you watch ahead and send us your suggestions for scenes that should make our Only in Movies list, and also for a chance for your suggestion to make it on the show.
This week's movie, Shazam. Directed by David Sandberg, starring Zachary Levi, Asher Angel, Jack Dillon, Mark Strong, and Faith Herman. She rocked it. Faith Herman killed it.
Yeah, Darla. She was a darling.
A little bit about this movie. All 14-year-old Billy Batson needs to do is shout out one word to transfer into the adult superhero, Shazam. Still a kid at heart, Shazam revels in the new version of himself by doing what any other teen would do. Have fun while testing out his newfound powers. But he'll need to master them quickly before the evil Dr. Savannah can get his hands on Shazam's magical ability.
Oh, that doctor.
Dr. Savannah was definitely a better villain than I thought he would be. At first, I was like, this is going to be trash.
I thought it was the opposite. At first, I thought he was about it. He was...
When I first saw him, I was like, him, super villain? I don't know. But
yeah, I never seen him in that capacity
right,
before.
That's what I was saying.
He usually played serious roles. Who was that? He was played by Mark Strong.
Yes.
Yeah, and I haven't seen, Mark Strong in any... that I can recall in any superhero type roles or villains like that. Real life villains, yeah. He's played those roles well before.
But he smashed it. He did his thing.
Yeah.
I like this movie. I'm going to just start with that. I enjoyed this movie a lot. We'll talk about that as we go. It had a budget of about $100 million, made $364 million.
Yeah, which is a low end for superhero movies, really.
Not for DC, though. For DC, they rocked it. That's a low end for a Marvel superhero movie. For DC, they did their thing kind of a little bit. This was a really good
so what's the best
DC showing.
What did Wonder Woman do?
Wonder Woman did...
Do you know?
Well...
Oh, yeah. $821 million. So Wonder Woman did $821 million in comparison. Worldwide, I mean. Not bad.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was you could tell it was in the canon, and we'll talk about reasons for that as we go. Darla rocked it, as we said. She was a great supplemental character to the superhero. Shazam is a superhero. I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm a comic book nerd.
but I feel like we've heard that before, Amato.
But Shazam wasn't a comic I really, really got into. I've watched the animated movie, and I saw him on Teen Titans because I watched that with my son. But I never really, really, really got into Shazam. And I thought he was a pretty good, cool character.
Yeah, I didn't know much about Shazam either. Funny enough, the most I learned about Shazam was from when I went to see Captain Marvel, and they had, Alamo Drafthouse does this like pre-roll featurettes, and they had a featurette explaining the whole history of Shazam and how it intertwined with Captain Marvel and Superman and all those characters. And that's where I actually learned about Shazam.
And I think we mentioned that before.
We mentioned the Captain Marvel side of things when we covered that episode. But now we get to see the other half of that whole long history between DC and Marvel. Right. And now we're seeing the character, which is very, very, very close to Superman, but not quite that.
And this movie put more in perspective the kid nature of him for me as a superhero, and I was like, oh, I get it, and that's his thing that makes him completely different than all of them, really.
Yes, that was also something that wasn't really touched on much in that featurette either, and I had no idea. Like that part of Shazam I had no idea about. And we'll get into how that played into the movie.
Anything else before we get in?
Do you know like the actor that played Shazam, Zachary Levi?
No.
I know you don't watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but
I don't.
You've heard of it, I'm sure.
I have, but
he's
well. So if we're gonna play the "Do you know what characters are from?" game? The dad, Victor.
Yeah.
Do you know where he's from?
Bunch of movies.
Halt and Catch Fire. And now we are more than 20 episodes into this game, and you still have probably not watched a single episode
Of Halt and
though
Catch
I've
Fire?
been telling
No,
you. Yes. But that's where he's
it's
from.
not gonna happen, mother.
And son, but damn it, a lot of good actors have come from that show. You should at least acknowledge that.
I do.
I thought he did a good job too.
You're gonna have to like subvert and just like trick me into watching a different show, and it's actually Halt and Catch Fire.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're getting to our only in movies list. This list is a list of things that we think could only happen in movies. Do you want to begin?
Yeah, I'll start with my scene. So my first scene is actually pretty late into the movie, I would say. Maybe like midway. It's the bus scene. You know, shout out to SEPTA, the Philadelphia Transportation Authority. There's a bus on a highway on an overpass, and you know, Shazam is doing his thing, shooting off lightning from his fingers. First off, very irresponsible. Does he not know about planes and helicopters and shit?
But before you get into that, where's he doing this and to what music is really important?
Yes, he is doing this on the Rocky steps, you know.
To
And
the
he's
Rocky
doing it
theme song.
To Eye of the Tiger. Yeah.
You're right. Eye of the Tiger, yes. So that's really important. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's like, lightning hands. Lightning hands.
So yeah, you know, one of them ricochets off something and strikes his bus. Now the bus is like about to fall off the overpass. He jets over there with his, you know, super speed, and then he proceeds to stand under the bus for mad long, just waiting for it to fall. Although you could do something. He's like, all right, come on.
Well, he did. He got the mattress.
He got the mattress. I was like, oh, you're killing me, Smalls. I mean, he didn't think about just jumping on the overpass. Nothing. He was literally just waiting under it to see what would happen.
So right before that, just really funny is where he's doing the lightning things. Freddy comes over and kicks over his speaker. I thought that shit was hilarious. And I thought when the bus driver was like, nobody move, I thought he should have told everybody to run to the back of the bus.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, that would have been the right move. Because they're tipping
like,
forward, but everybody remain where they are, and we are currently still falling. All right.
we should try to do something that may change our fate here.
Everything, wait for it. Yeah. And speaking about falling, the bus finally does fall, and he stops it from falling by catching it on the glass windshield. No problem.
The cracked
I was like, what?
Glass windshield.
Cracked? And the reason that it had cracked is because a guy fell on it and it cracked. Meanwhile,
3 guys.
Yeah, and
there's 2 guys and a girl. It was more than one person.
All of that cracked, no problem. An entire bus weight on it, still good. But yeah, that was my first scene.
Okay, so my first scene is a little before that. It's when Dr. Savannah goes to Savannah Industries.
Oh, to see his pops.
Who we didn't know was alive until this point.
That was a good twist.
Yep, yeah. We thought his dad died in the crash. He just lost his legs. I was like, oh, all right, okay. The guy, the security guard, kind of is like, who are you? Where you going? Doesn't really try to stop him. This dude,
hey.
right. Who are you? Where you going? This dude walks into the boardroom. He's just having a full-on argument with his father and brother, and everybody else on the board is just sitting there watching. And I assume they're like, there's a family issue. These have nothing to do with me. He picks up his brother, flings him out the window through the glass, and everybody just still sits there. They don't move. They don't get up. They don't react. They don't even scream.
They're panicked.
They were panicked, but nobody screamed.
I would have left though.
Gone. Right?
You would have seen the dust in my chair. Like
the chair's still spinning.
Yeah. Squeak, 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 squeak.
They waited till all the sins came out of Dr. Savannah to get up and start like trying to run. These motherfuckers deserve to die. This is some dumb shit.
I thought that was that what you mentioned, the way the receptionist, when all that started going on, and you know the sins start fucking everybody up, the receptionist is like walking up to the window slowly, and then he just sees everybody get slammed against it. He's like, fuck this. I was dying.
Yeah, he was out.
That reminded me of a similar scene in Independence Day. You remember that scene where the aliens are controlling the scientists?
Oh yeah, in the lab.
They put him against the glass. Yeah, and they put him against the glass. It's all smoky. That's exactly what it reminded me of when he's like walking up slowly, because that's exactly the same thing that the president did in Independence Day. So I was like, I forgot to look up if that was on purpose or what, but it was eerily similar.
But that whole scene made like very little sense to me. I wouldn't have been there. I would have been way gone. Once he threw his brother out the window, I was like, oh, this ain't got nothing to do with me. I have no.
Yeah, I'm like, he got wheels. He could have been gone the fuck out of there.
I have nothing. This is no bearing on my life. I'm out. But no, they sat there. But people just wanted to be nosy, see what happened.
And then the dad's yelling help. I'm like, I'm pretty sure everybody in that freaking meeting probably had a phone on them. Nobody was calling nobody.
Right. Nobody called that's an excellent point. Nobody called a police officer, anything. Excellent. I didn't even consider that. Excellent.
We'll get into the police officers in this movie too later on. But yeah.
So, couple things. Do you know about the whole Black Adam saga and drama and with The Rock? So
Black Adam, no.
Black Adam is one of Shazam's greatest villains. And The Rock is desperate to play him. He was kind of...
Why?
Because The Rock just likes the character. And it's like it's a role he really wants to bring to life. So for this movie, The Rock was... They were kind of trying to put The Rock in it. But The Rock and I think DC feel that Black Adam needs his own complete origin story instead of trying to shoehorn it into Shazam's origin story.
Right.
So eventually... he's going to be there. People thought it was going to look like a secret. Like he was going to pop up. And he didn't pop up, obviously. But look out for that.
All right. Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah, this like side of DC I know very little about. As it is, I think I told you I barely watched. I didn't watch Justice League. I watched Aquaman because we were covering it here. And
you saw Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman I watched. And I am a fan of Man of Steel. You know, that's that DC.
I am too.
Reboot.
I loved it. And people hated it. People despised it.
I know, right? I know. I liked it. It was very dark. I liked it.
And did you see the end credits?
Yes.
All of them?
I did see the end credits. Both.
Oh, well, the reason I said all of them was because the cartoon credits have a lot of stuff in them too.
Oh, I didn't watch that, no.
The cartoon credits at the end of the movie? You didn't watch them?
No, I saw that they were like actually playing something
you didn't
out.
see
but
him, like him, Superman and Shazam arm wrestling? It showed also, during those cartoon credits, it showed all of the Justice League characters. Flash, Aquaman, Superman, and they had like each had their own little section. And it was pretty cool.
I didn't watch it. I skipped the credits to get to the scenes. That's why.
So, do you know who the little worm is? That's Mr. Mind, and he's a badass worm. He's like
I don't know what to say about that.
Super powerful. So look out for that. And then I thought the dig at Aquaman was pretty funny when he was like, I can't talk to fish. What use would that be, talking to fish? That shit was pretty funny.
They had that all over the movie. Those little digs were pretty funny. You know, when they show the little kid playing with Batman and Superman and he drops them when he sees Shazam.
Yeah.
There
was a lot of really... They injure Savannah with the Batarang.
Yep, and they throw Batman. He throws the Batman little plush toy when they're in the mall too. At Dr. Savannah.
There was a lot of I thought they did a good job of showing that they were part of a universe.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of references in there. We also had a repeat occurrence with over-the-top bullies.
Yeah, these bullies was rough. Movie. Yeah, they tried to run people over. They hit dude with the car. They was doing too much, yeah.
Oh, did they own the school or something? Because they were acting like they owned the school.
Yo, I don't know about Philly, but in New York City, you can't just pull up and park in front of no school and come back to find your car.
They were beating a kid in front of the school. A handicapped kid was getting beat. There was a crowd. Nobody said anything. It was like mad quiet. You just heard someone like, stop. and then the foster brothers and sisters got involved.
Who held it down the most?
Darla. She's about it, yo.
I literally...
Like, I bust my gun.
Wait, stop. I literally have Darla Bout It written. Literally word for word, exactly. That was nuts. And they asked him to pay for it after they hit him with the car. They told them, you don't have a mommy. I was like, oh no.
And then they went back to school the next day and they were fine apparently.
Right. There was no suspension or nothing.
Yeah, I was like, they must own the kid, or they got pictures on the principal or something. They got dirt on him. I got dirt on you, doggy.
Right. Your suspension what?
I dare you. Yeah, but my next scene is the carnival scene. So this is when
which one?
This is technically I was gonna say this is technically like two scenes in here. So I only have two, but the second one's long, or there's a couple of sections in there. So this is when they were in their lair and with all the kids there and everything, Dr. Savannah, and then they break out back into the real world, and they're For some reason, Shazam decides to take all the kids with him to a carnival, so a crowded place. You're keeping the children with you, and you're not exactly hiding too much because he's wearing his fucking suit.
Right. But then he says Shazam, so he blends in.
Right. Except that, a whole thundercrack points exactly to where he is.
Right.
So
True story. Facts, right?
All poor decisions, I think, up until that point. Oh, all right. Why wouldn't you try to separate yourself from the kids so they don't get hurt? Why wouldn't you try to separate yourself from people so they don't get hurt? All, whatever. Then Dr. Savannah's in the crowd, and the kids are like trying to distract him or whatever, and he decides to send his very, very powerful minions after kids, even though they were like 20 feet away. I'm like, you could have just slapped them all probably real quick. Real quick, he could have taken care of that. Like we said, he was a good villain, but this was an instance where he did the whole villain thing where it's like, I'm going to take the most roundabout way of getting rid of my my opponents. And then, lastly, I think when that scene, what did it for me was these monsters that were like great at dodging and weaving. They were like fucking Cassius Clay with the smoke dodging when they were fighting Shazam. And as soon as everybody else turns into a superhero, they can't do shit against them. Like, they're getting like, they're like, where's my left hand? Where's my right hand? Like, they're like swinging at them.
You went a little too far, so let's go back a little.
Okay. It was a lot. I was like, all right, they're doing a lot.
So we have some overlap because my scene is involved in that, but you just jumped right over it. So my scene was Mary goes to shoot the BB at Dr. Savannah, and she looks like she's about to hit him perfectly in the eye with a BB from probably like 50 feet. I was like, is Mary a sharpshooter? We don't know.
I've done it though. In Mary's defense, I've done it. It's
not
actually,
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose.
You shot somebody in the eye with a BB.
Let me tell you a story. Oh, not the eye. Jesus,
oh, okay.
Why would I say? And if I did, why would I say that on tape? All right.
It's scumbag mania in here today.
You trying to give me the dry snitch? Snitch on yourself.
It's the theme of the week. But yeah, she had a perfect shot to the eye.
I'm not gonna lie though. I thought the joke was gonna be that she was gonna miss completely. So
no, she wasn't gonna miss at all. Like it was like no way she was gonna
shot,
miss.
Yeah.
If he didn't grab that, it was a wrap.
I know it was like blurry. And as they like focused in, I'm like, oh man, she just like missed it completely. And then I'm like, no, it was apparently gonna hit right in the eye. So yeah, I'm talking shit, but I was literally incredulous as well.
Then, so again, to slow down a little, I thought it was really, really cool that they went with the whole Shazam Force idea. Like that's something that, like other movies might work up to over like a series of movies and a sequel. They went for it. I didn't expect it. It caught me off guard. I was like giddy. I was super happy about it. I was like, oh, we have a bunch of superheroes. They have different costumes. I was pausing it and looking at the different colors.
You paused? You
shut up.
No, I just didn't know.
I felt okay.
They're called Shazam Force? Is that their actual name?
I don't know. I don't know if they said that or if I just wrote that down, but I have Shazam Force written down.
You just giving out names and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Shazam Force. I'm like, that's interesting. No, I thought that was a really cool scene as well, and I also wasn't expecting it, especially because I didn't make that connection at all when the wizard said that.
Right, and then so we always talk about liking a story. That really took you back to that part of the story where you had to be like, oh, he did say that, and that did have meaning. He didn't just say that to say that. Right.
I would think that was a good callback. Usually the callbacks are kind of obvious, but this was a more subtle one.
Yeah, I was like giddy. I paused it, looked at the different colors. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
I was observing the colors. I noticed that the Latino had Mexican colors on, which is terrible.
I would have never noticed. No. Never.
He looked like he had Mexico's.
Did Eugene have yellow?
Yes. Nah, I'm fucking with you. I don't think he had gray.
I was like, oh, so this is full on racist then. But when they said kill a little girl, my heart stopped. I was like, they better not touch Darla. They better leave Darla the fuck alone.
I was like, do they want people to like this movie? Because if they would have killed Darla, I think people would have walked out.
No, I knew they wasn't going to kill her, but just even bringing it up upset me.
They couldn't have even harmed her, all right?
Yeah, I hear her head. But that whole, the staff scene to the changing of the family, I thought that was all played out really, really awesome and like very smart.
No, yeah, it was definitely one of the cooler scenes of the movie for sure. The problem is it didn't last for me. and I'll get into why as we get into our come on fams and some of the funny stuff.
Okay, so I thought it was hilarious when they were far apart from each other in the air, and he's making
Yeah,
his
the
big
talking
speech,
thing.
and he's like, "I can't hear you." But I can't. I really just can't hear you. I was dying.
I didn't see that one coming too.
Yeah, nah, that was funny. They had a good amount
For
of
a sec-
jokes that just came out of nowhere.
Right, I was gonna say because for a second I was waiting for like I was like, my TV not playing the audio right, and then I was like, oh, it's a joke. So the way they did some of the jokes was definitely funny, and the fact that he was deadpan about it and he just cut him off, it was definitely one of the funnier scenes as well.
Okay, so we're gonna go into our come on fams. Come on fams are scenes where we see it and we're like, just come on fam, this makes no sense. Why would you even put this in the movie?
Yeah, so I think for me there were more than a couple in this one, and I've already gone into some just through our conversation and our scenes. But wait, there's more. So you want to start off?
So one of the things that I was the come on fammed about was when Shazam first turns into Shazam, the bullies pull up in front of school, he takes the car from them, and then he like dropped it back perfectly where it was, but he couldn't fly. So did he throw it?
I thought about the same thing.
I was mad confused at that whole like situation. So he threw it and it landed so perfect. Like if he drops it from the sky, I got it. I'm with it. He's hovering over, he drops it, no problem. If he just flung it from somewhere, I was really confused at that.
And there was a lot of hang time too. So what I thought was like, oh, maybe he just jumped up in the air with it, like really high up, and then dropped it.
Yeah, just let it go.
But still,
But they would have
a
seen
perfect
him.
land, right? And what was odd is that they kept beeping the car. So it was like, it's nearby. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right, at all, right.
Yeah, that was a confusing scene as well. My first come on fam scene was in the beginning when the dad they almost got killed, and then they stop in the middle of the road for mad long and are having a conversation facing the wrong way, just chilling. I was like, not very bright, but what happened after, I was like, the dad had it coming. I was good with it. What happened after that? The dad was a dick, and the brother was a dick too. I was like, is he adopted or something? Like, what is wrong with these people?
Have you ever spun out in the snow before? I'm sure you have, right?
I kept that shit pushing. All right.
Well, no, I'm not saying I'm not. I just want to know if you did. I'm not agreeing. You just stay in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
But I remember when my first spin out, I might have spun like maybe a half a turn, but it felt like I spun 70 million times. Like, if you would have asked me right after, I was like 7. I spun 7 times.
It was crazy. My life flashed before my eyes.
Yeah.
Yo, the first time it happened to me was in Rochester, of course. And I was driving from the liquor store over a bridge. You know, like bridges be icy.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I did a full 360 spin at an intersection, and I just faced the right way and then just pressed the gas and kept going. It was the smoothest shit, and nobody was around, so nobody saw that shit.
So for me, it was similar.
Yeah.
I was coming back. I was passing by I was coming back from Cleveland. I was passing like the Ohio snow belt, and I was like, Bella might want Waffle House, and I went to go taste the exit for Waffle House and spun, turned around, still facing right towards the exit. There was no cars around. Just got off the exit, got my Waffle House, calmed my nerves a little bit, and went about my business.
It's like nothing happened. Good times. Good winter times.
Yeah, I guess.
So you have a next one?
Yes. So my next come on fam is when they're running out of. So this was right before your only a movie scene, because it's right before when they're running out of the lair, and Shazam is screaming to Freddy, "Keep up!" I'm like, fam, you know he has one leg. Why don't you pick him up? And then later in the movie, he picks him up and carries him, and I'm like, why didn't you do that before?
What I found funny is that he has super speed, and he only ran him to the end of the block. He was like, you got it from here, bro. He was like, I'm not carrying you the whole fucking way. Yeah, like, all right. That was a good one too.
But and that leads to the room full of doors, which I thought was dope. Because
that was a cool scene.
That was a really cool scene. And those alligators,
that was hilarious.
they're like real supervillains in the Shazam world.
See, I didn't know what I was looking at. I'm like, what do these doors mean? Or
he doesn't know that they're supervillains, but those are supervillains for the Shazam world. And you know the door with the hand that came out is the monster from The Mist. Have you ever seen the movie The Mist?
The Mist, maybe.
Yeah. So the monster in that thing is the monster from The Mist. I'm sorry.
Wait, what is the connection to The Mist? To the Stephen King movie? But what?
I don't know. But I guess it shows that those doors just open up portals to different dimensions. They're completely different stuff. I thought it was pretty interesting. Did you notice all the smiley faces?
No, where?
When Billy is being interviewed by the social worker, she has smiley faces all over the place.
Nah, I didn't notice that.
Because that's a shout out to Watchmen.
Yeah, that's what I figured. The Watchmen, the dripping smiley face.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, snap. I was like, wow, she has smiley faces like all over the place.
They really didn't hold back with the references.
No, they kept it like very like Easter egg filled. And also related to one of our other movies and one of our social media posts, Annabelle's in this movie. And she's in the pawn shop at the beginning of the movie, sitting on the shelf. So that's 2 movies Annabelle's been in thus far.
Speaking of that pawn shop, that was my next Come On Fam, when the cops just walked right in there at the suggestion of a kid at the door. No backup or anything, just go all the way to the back of the shop.
He looked really trusting.
I know, he was just standing there like... And they're like confirming with the kid as if he's an authority on this shit. Like, he's like, "You sure over there to the left, to the right, to the back?" And then after that, they get trapped in there. And I thought that they were mighty patient with a kid that had not control of a police vehicle.
Right.
And they're trying to like talk him out of it. And then the result of it was like the cop pulls by. And he's basically looking at them like, "You silly goose."
Right. He goes, well, he said something like, "You made me miss my lunch."
Like, he goes, "You just had to take my lunch."
Oh yes, you had to take my lunch.
Like it was a joke.
It's a game, right?
So I found that interesting. And in general, I think cops were everywhere in this movie except where they needed to be,
like
to
the
actually
carnival.
Yes,
the boardroom.
Right.
They fought for literally like 30 minutes at the carnival without nobody, a single "put your hands up."
Nothing. And Shazam is wreaking havoc in the city, testing on his power. He literally ran into a building and destroyed the window. No cops at all. He's just pretty much doing whatever he wants.
So speaking of powers, flight or invisibility?
Ooh. I've had this discussion before. I would
Haven't we
do
all?
invisibility.
I think I would do flight. It depends on my level of control of both of them, and like I don't know, and like how far can I fly for how long, and all of the things like that.
Yes,
I'd be intrigued.
It begets more questions when you start going down this scenario. But yeah, I think I would do it. I think that's why I've gone down the path of this, and I'm like, I think regular me, I think I would probably benefit more from just invisibility than fucking flying around.
I don't see it. I don't think I need invisibility. What am I like?
I don't want to discuss it on tape.
All right. Okay. All right then. So next.
Nah, fucking with you.
I know. Any other come on fams?
Yes, I have one more. The mom. She was rough, man. I was like, could she have been a little bit gentler? Oh, man.
You talking about his mom, his actual mom. I didn't know if that was a come on fan, or we just needed to like stop and have like a full discussion about her.
She was like, yeah, I know what I did, kid. You don't gotta tell me.
Yeah, she was like,
yeah, I left you, right? On December 2nd? Yeah, 3:45? Yeah, it was me.
I saw you after. I knew it. I made a conscious decision. He went to the projects of Philadelphia to find her, and she was just like, man. This is not a good time, but you look good. I'm kind of
busy right now.
Yeah, you look good though.
It's game night.
I was like, oh my God. But that was a good departure from the levity of the movie too.
It was unexpectedly rough at that point.
Yeah.
And it caught me off guard. I didn't think that was the path that it was going to take.
And it helped shape him to what he was. And did you notice the big piano?
Yeah, I did notice the big piano. I didn't understand the reference to it.
Think about it. He's big. He's a little kid who's in a grown-up's body and can do what he wants. He can go buy beer, liquor, and it was a nice little subtle throw-in, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, I caught it. I just didn't understand. I didn't get if there was like a deeper meaning of like, is it director?
Yeah, it is, because he's big.
I caught the
homage.
Yeah.
Homage.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie, like I was so, like I said, I know so little about Shazam. I was seeing that they were referencing things like I have no idea what this means.
This is something, though. I know this is something.
I was like, this is something, and then sometimes maybe I was looking too deep into things where it's like now, for example, I'm like, was it deeper? And like, no, it's just a shout out to Big.
Yeah, right. And it makes sense though too.
No, it does. It definitely does. I liked how he saw the impending threat because the piano kept getting shorter and shorter. That was cute.
Right. In real life, those pianos are trash, by the way. They're not really that awesome.
I've played them. They weren't that great. And you get tired quick, so in reality, that shit won't work. All right, so we can get into some funny stuff.
So, my first funny is they told him to think of any place but here. He ended up in a strip club with some strip club wings. So for a long time in my life, I would refuse to eat food at the strip club. And then I had strip club wings, and I was like, oh, no. This is not a necessary thing. Like, these wings are amazing. One time, I had some barbecue fried shrimp at the strip club, and I still be like,
I gotta go back.
I went back, and they don't have them anymore, and it hurts me in my soul.
That's so sad.
Yeah, them shits were great.
Yeah, but I've had the same thought. Food there or no food there? But it always smells great when they're bringing it out to somebody else.
And generally looks good, and you're like, oh no. I thought it was funny too when Darla was like, they have glitter. And I was like, why?
I want glitter. She's like, you don't want that glitter.
Why do strippers have glitter? I had to think about that. Like, what's so attractive about glitter?
It shimmers, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Come on.
It gets you caught.
Everything is sparkly.
Yeah, leaves evidence.
So did you know ancient Romans brush their teeth with urine?
No. I've never heard that.
I did not.
Did you look it up and make sure it was true?
It was true. I did look it up. I was intrigued. Yeah, they used it as mouthwash and shit. And it works. They had bright white teeth.
Did they?
They did, apparently. And that is not something we need to test or try.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I'll look like a fucking somebody from Britain before I do that. Like
this is Charles. No disrespect to our Britain fans that are listening right now.
Yeah. My bad, people. I watch Top Boy. That means I love y'all.
Mans in them. Right? Yeah.
My last funny scene was when they told Darla, good sisters don't tell secrets. All I could think of was Biggie's line, I blow up spots like little sisters. I was like, they say that for a reason. Yeah.
Yo, but she was honest as fuck about it.
She held it.
She
held it down.
Yo, she was like, yo, that ass though, I can't hold secrets, so this is gonna be a problem for me.
But she did it. She did it.
I know she did it, and I was so proud she was able to hold on to it. I was like, yes, and I was actually happy. I was legit happy for her when she was like, I did it.
Did it right? Darla crushed it. Like, she crushed it.
That favorite character in the movie for sure. And then at the end, I think for her, it's obviously the most apparent that she's a child in an adult's body when she's like, what is a lair?
Right.
I thought that was pretty cute. And the Santa thing too. He's like, you're real.
Right. That was, when she told him, that was pretty funny. He's all like,
what is wrong with you?
Right. I know I said that was my last funny thing, but one more was the whole, they couldn't have no toys for Christmas. Was like, what's the point of Christmas? Like, I know there's other points of Christmas, guys. I know it's to celebrate family and all, but damn it, I want toys if I'm a kid on Christmas. When I was young,
screw all that noise. Yo, where the toys at?
Right. When I was young, my aunt bought me this like $150 Transformer toy, and my family wouldn't let me play with it because it was too expensive, and that drove me nuts.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, here's the toy for you. Now don't touch it.
Yeah. My aunt was like, let him play with it. They were like, no, it's too expensive. I was like, fam, it's a toy. Like, fuck else are we going to do with it?
Yeah, I was living in DR at this point, and they brought me I don't know if you ever saw one of these, the Spider-Man cars. He had like a vehicle that's similar to the Batmobile. They brought it to DR, and I was allowed to play with it only on special occasions. It was the worst.
What's the point? Why even bring it to me?
So I have to live with the knowledge that there is this toy in my house that I really want to play with and can't.
Right.
And then I got all these regular ass toys, and I'm like, yeah, but you ain't no Spider-Man car though.
Yeah, right. You got every other car on the planet, right?
Yeah, one of my other funny scenes where, I thought it was funny the way he gets his power. It's very unfortunate because he pretty much has to destroy property all around him and shit every time he needs to convert into Shazam.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, there's no safe way of like, it's like Shazam and I ruined your house, like.
I thought when he was falling out the sky, he was gonna accidentally turn to the boy, and then he didn't, and I was sad. I swear, it's one of the comics. I read that happens. Like he's in the sky, he screams Shazam, he falls out, and I think like his mouth is covered or something, and he can't scream Shazam again, and it's like dramatic.
So is he essentially then mortal when he's a kid?
Absolutely, I think so. That's a good question. I'm almost 100% sure.
That wasn't really answered.
No, I'm almost 100%
so,
sure.
right?
Though. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's kind of weird though. That you're like the champion, but only when you say the word. I don't know.
But that's part of his shtick.
No, yeah, I know that's his character. And I think I saw somewhere where it was like, this movie got pretty good reviews, and one of the articles when it was out, I didn't read it, but I saw the headline. It was like Shazam doesn't have to make sense to be fun. I think that was a good mantra for the movie to live by.
I thought the mix of powers he got was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and I wonder if we saw all of them, because it seemed like he also did teleportation at one point, didn't he?
Well, so his wisdom wasn't really there for me. So he probably has to develop some of these, because it's not like he had courage.
Oh, that's one of his powers?
Yeah, because he didn't have courage off the rip.
No.
He got Solomon's wisdom. He didn't have a lot of wisdom.
No,
he had the stamina,
not.
the speed, the strength, and all of that. But so I think obviously he can become a stronger superhero.
What do they call this? Work in progress.
Yeah. When the don't scream sign was stupid too.
Yeah.
He slams the sign on the window saying don't scream.
The way he presented it, yeah. It's like, don't panic.
And then here's one thing. I'm sorry, this confused me. He had to be pure of heart, but he was a thief.
Well, I think they established that he wasn't any of these guys. And he said himself, he's like, yo, I don't know what they told you, but that's not me, dog.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Yeah, and even Dr. Savannah was like, why'd they pick you? And he's like, I know, right?
But they ain't pick you, fam.
Yeah, exactly.
We can get into our overall reviews now.
So I think this movie was a little bit too cheesy for me. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. It was still fun, definitely. But I think, not knowing that he was a kid, I expected it to be less kid-based. And I think a large part of that was in there. But I still enjoyed the references. I think the jokes were still pretty good. The way they took shots at other DC characters was funny. I thought, as we mentioned, the villain was really good. I think he had a really good start. He was ruthless. But then, near the end, he started falling into the old tropes.
They always have to.
I know, right? But the part that I mentioned earlier, when it came to, as you called it, the Shazam Force, when they came out, it was great. But then I felt like it felt kind of flat after that exciting moment, because the action afterward was kind of like, meh.
Because there was a lot going on. That would have made that movie. So at the point that they came out, it was probably like an hour 40.
Yeah.
Maybe later. So they couldn't have did too much without this movie being like Endgame length.
Oh no, I think that scenario they were in, the carnival, was fine, and the way that they even all came out at the same time. But it wasn't like an awesome play off of each other, like where it was like they were all having their individual battles.
Like one throws one and another one catches him and punches him. Yeah.
It could have been like awesome. That being said, I think the dynamic with them as kids in general was great. Like, the Eugene kid was hilarious. Freddie was a sarcastic prick, also hilarious.
Just a couple of times he got on my damn nerves. I was like, he's a little bitch.
Yeah, that Freddie kid he was definitely he definitely is clingy.
A little bitch. Just do a little bitch shit.
Freddie, yeah, Billy got on my nerves as well. I thought he was kind of a dick.
Yeah, he was.
But then he redeemed himself. I think overall though, I would watch a sequel, and there obviously is going to be one. And the story, I think, is original enough and intriguing enough that I would see another one, because this is one of the few superhero movies where I know almost nothing about the entire canon or the superheroes at all, versus Marvel, where it's kind of, to me at least,
tons of information, right?
Almost overwhelming.
Right, and sometimes that can hurt it, because you're like, well, that's not what he would normally do.
Yeah, and it's also saturation. Like I've seen so many of them before in like cartoons and etc. Shazam is not at that popularity level. He still feels fresh, if that makes sense.
I think that's how it was when they did Hawkeye and Black Widow in the first Avengers. I was like, oh, I know all these other people, but those they killed it too, and they became excellent, characters. So okay, so I love this movie. Have I loved a lot of movies? I don't think I've loved a lot of movies. I love this movie. I think all the movies I love was
superhero movies.
I knew you was about to say that. The salt.
If I love Tom Cruise, you love superheroes.
That's completely different. I'll take that. um, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really good. I thought it had a good blend of silly and serious. I thought it told a good story. I think the Shazam character is a pretty interesting character when you have the dichotomy of a teenager, a fresh teenager too, 14 years old, and an adult with all the power in the world inhabiting the same body. And I thought that was really, interesting and how it played off and
not at the same time.
not at the same time, right? And that's really, but that the brain is always there,
Right.
The brain stays the same, so it's a really interesting, just a really interesting dynamic. I loved Big, so it's the Big story is very similar, minus the superhero powers.
Yeah, I was a fan of Big as well.
I would definitely watch a sequel. I loved Big. Big is a fucking amazing movie. I tried to make the kids watch Big, and it was too much for them. It was like too old.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have those issues with Liz because I love 80s movies and classics, but I understand. Even when I watch some 90s movies, it's like, it is slow. It's like,
And she's not fan.
it's crazy to see how much like just cinema has changed in so little time.
I would definitely, obviously, watch a sequel. I'm actually looking forward to the sequel. I'll watch the sequel tomorrow if it came out.
At the movies, though?
No, I don't go to the movie theater. I'm not the movie theater type of guy. Mr. Mind is a really, really intriguing character to have in the sequel, and I would look forward to that. We talked about Black.
I wasn't even sure what I was looking at when I saw Mr. Mind. I was like, "What is this?" They zoomed in, and I was like, "I still don't understand."
He's a worm,
right? I know. Yeah, I know he's a worm because you told me he's a worm.
Well. Pause. Let's go back for a second. Did you notice that in the lair? In the beginning of the movie, they show a worm encased in a shell, encased in like a glass case.
Nah, I missed that.
You might have to go back and watch that. Towards the beginning of the movie, they show a worm in the lair, in the wizard's lair, encased in a glass case. So that could be Mr. Mind too, and he had him under wraps, and he got out once everything broke out. So Shazam comes kind of built in with a bunch of really cool, interesting characters too, like Black Adam, the alligators. There's a bunch of different unique villains that we've never seen before. We've seen the Joker, even though I'm interested in the Joker movie coming out. We've seen him a million times in a bunch of different iterations.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with our friend Steven. Shout out to Not Entertained. We were discussing the Joker as well, and other superhero movies, and it's just like, I've seen it. Like, I understand. And recently too. That's the other problem. It's not like when they keep making these movies and rebooting these movies, it's like, oh, I've already seen multiple versions of this,
right? Like, I've seen a bunch of Green Goblins.
Yeah, everything that I saw was original for me.
Trillion Green Goblins. So, I think that's a very interesting, especially again, as you said, with the saturation. With we've seen a lot. Like Ragnarok was a very unique movie, and those stick out
exactly
in the canon of what the canon of the universe that they create.
That's part of the reason why I also love Ant-Man, because it's just so different from the other movies.
Yep. That's why I liked Man of Steel. It was a Superman movie, but it was definitely not.
It can't be Superman.
The Superman movie I watched. Yeah, the other 6 or 7 or 8 Superman movies I've watched before it was a departure with an interesting take on the character. But I enjoyed it. I would tell everybody to go watch it. I liked it. It was a really good superhero movie. It was a really good movie.
It was good. It wasn't great for me.
Right. But you don't like superheroes.
Is that the narrative being painted?
Yeah, because they're not Tom Cruise.
It always goes back to Tom Cruise.
You'd be like, none of them hung down from a ceiling, though.
Did they do their own stunts, though?
Right. Do their own stunts, yeah.
All right.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Only a Movies Pod.
Also, let us know what movies you want us to cover in the future, or responding to our Instagram story, leaving us some comments on any of our pages, or hitting us up. It's been working. We've been hearing you guys, and we got a couple of things lined up as well from requests. So stay tuned.
Join us next time for more things that happen only in movies.